What up, Dragon Ballers? This is going to be my episode review for Dragon Ball Daima episode number 7 called Caller. In this episode, we get a good amount of development. We move ahead through the story. Vegeta's crew begins the journey to catch up to Goku. Goku's crew get into a little bit of a sticky situation, but it's a pretty cool way that they get through it. And we also end with a very promising setup for an awesome fight on the next one. So if you guys have been enjoying all the Daima content on the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. I have done an episode review for every single episode so far, and I will be covering every single remaining episode until the end of the series. And of course, full spoilers ahead. That being said, let's jump in. So we pick up at the lookout where Bulma is trying to fix the ship after it crashed from the end of the last episode. It was floating for just a moment and then it crashed back down. She learns that one of the components that's needed to fix the ship requires an element that doesn't exist on Earth. So naturally, they're out of luck. They can't do anything about it. Vegeta and Bulma get into a little bit of a, lover's quarrel there. But then suddenly a new ship appears and lands. And obviously this is Hybis, but they don't know that yet. And I love the little moment where Vegeta moves himself directly in front of Bulma to protect her. That will never stop being adorable. I love when Vegeta does that. Hybis steps out and introduces himself, saying that Kadan requested he retrieve the group. They don't know who Kadan is, but thankfully there's no misunderstanding. I was kind of concerned there might be something like that, but we don't get any of that and they simply join up. We switch back to Goku's crew as he begins chowing down on some manpuku dumplings. These are tiny black rice ball looking things that are apparently the equivalent of 2 meals. And I like how when Pansy brings that up, it kind of reminds me of how a sensu bean, I think, is the equivalent of a week's worth of food or 10 days or something like that. You would be full for 10 days. And so Goku eats one and then he eats another one and he balloons up. Pansy notices Goku not listening and just simply chows down on 2. Then she asks him how he even raised a kid given how he behaves. The second she said this, I immediately blurted out, he wasn't even there. He didn't even do anything. And Goku honestly responds, yeah, I wasn't really involved. And I love that moment. Goku was honest about it because it's true. He didn't do anything. He was dead the whole time. Piccolo is the better father. We briefly then switch back to Hybis, who has now left the lookout in the ship with Bulma, Vegeta, and Piccolo. Kibito decided to stay back and watch over the lookout because nobody's there now. Kadan then calls Hybis on his little communicative device and tells him that once they reach the 3rd world, he should update Kadan. He also lets them know that Goku's crew plans to chase the Tamagami, which we already established a couple episodes ago. Goku wants to fight the Tamagami and retrieve the Dragon Balls from the Demon Realm. As we switch back to Goku, they are promptly stopped by multiple Armory ships. Pansy noticed them flying off in the distance, and as they were trying to maneuver away, they were still stopped and confronted by the Armory ship. They told them to pull over so that they could inspect the ship. Pansy realizes as they were landing that it was due to her collar that they were able to track their movements. But as they land the ship, Shin instructs Goku to hide in the back. As he said this, I kind of thought Shin was about to use some sort of a magic trick to have Goku look like a piece of luggage, but something else happens. After they land, Glorio, Shin, and Pansy walk out of the ship. Goku stays in the ship, and as the guards walk in, they begin searching through all of the luggage, throwing everything out piece by piece to just make sure that they cover everything. But Goku isn't seen. Goku then suddenly appears behind Shin and runs to the nearby bushes as all the guards are facing the ship. Turns out it was instant transmission. Goku teleported from the ship to right behind Shin by following his key signature, which was a nice way to bring back yet another Dragon Ball Z maneuver into Dragon Ball Daima. The guards, after finishing searching the ship, approach Pansy and demand that she come with them for interrogation due to their suspicion over the masked figure who attacked them first at the village. Pansy obviously doesn't want to go and pulls out a taser and takes out the guard that grabs her. Noticing this, the other guards begin to attack and a fight ensues. Goku does not get involved yet. It's all about Shin and Glorio. Shin swoops in and begins fighting the guards first, and then Glorio follows. Don't forget, Shin can actually fight. He did a bit of fighting back during the Majin Buu arc. Granted, he wasn't very good, but he does have some combat experience. Glorio does this awesome magic-infused punch that knocks out one of the guards and actually kind of fries them. And for me personally watching this, I sort of got the same vibes that I did from Jujutsu Kaisen when Yuji is able to use a black flash. Some of the Gendarmerie then board the planes and begin attacking these guys in their ships, firing Gatling rounds. And unfortunately, it does some damage to their ship. Glorio is very angry and responds with a magic blast that takes out one of the ships. Shin then puts out his hand and uses telekinesis to shove the other plane into the first one that went out of control due to Glorio's attack. And I love that moment. The way Shin is looking, It gives off very much the same vibes as UI Goku at the end of the Tournament of Power. Of course, it's not the same thing, but I thought of that, and I was thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh's Mind Crush. Or is it Dark Magic Attack? One of the two. It was awesome either way. As the final Armory ship was retreating, Shin calls out to Goku to take out the stragglers. Goku throws his own ki blast and causes that ship to blast off again. Since their ship was massively damaged, the crew decides to take one of the spare Armory ships that was left during the fight. And as they board, Pansy then realizes it's not going to matter if they even board the ship because of her collar. She's going to be the reason why they get tracked again. Shin approaches Pansy and looks at the collar and sees that it's made of Kachin-type. Shin speculates that it was a Rinsu that likely created this metal back during Deborah's reign. And then as soon as he talks about how it's indestructible, he then destroys it. So I think that Glins are able to manipulate and destroy the same metal that a Glind created. I think that's what that was meant to imply. After destroying the collar, Pansy is incredibly grateful, thanks Shin, and then asks him for his name, because I guess she forgot. Shin then says it's Shin, but then she asks him what his demon realm name is, and he promptly responds by saying Nahare. I don't know if that means anything. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but turns out his name is Nahare. So Nahare, Degesu, and Arinsu. Those are the three names. I don't know if there's any similarity there in terms of the meaning. Maybe they're anagrams? I'm not sure. After they board the ship and they begin flying, Glorio talks about how it's much faster, but then he realizes they're going to need a new pin in order to approach Warp because they don't have a pin anymore for the same ship. It's a different ship. So Pansy pulls out what looks like a dragon radar, but it's actually another communicator device. And she contacts, I guess, the tech support from the castle. And so she contacts someone named Peril and requests a hack on plane 51, which is the plane that they're in right now. Peril then gives them the code 1022 and then informs them that Hybis has successfully retrieved the others and is on the way. Goku tells Pansy to let them know to catch up as they're heading towards the Tamagami. As they approach the Tamagami of the third world, they enter the nearby village and grab a bite to eat. Shin asks the local server if anyone had ever challenged the Tamagami recently, and the server says that about 20 years ago, someone with a large gun tried, but failed instantly and died. I initially thought that that character might be someone of significance, but then when the server said that he died, I figured probably not. After eating and readying up, Pansy tells Goku that even Deborah was unable to defeat the Tamagami, but again, Goku doesn't care. He is looking forward to the challenge. As Goku approaches the Tamagami and calls out to the Tamagami yells back really loudly, alerting the entire village that this little boy is about to fight a giant Tamagami, and he's huge. He's a giant mech. He kind of looks like Boda. He's kind of built in the same shape as Boda from Dragon Ball Super, only he's holding a giant hammer as well. So I guess each of the Tamagamis wield a different weapon. Tamagami 3 is voiced by the voice of All Might, Kenta Miyake, which instantly was recognizable. I will never forget. I love the voice of All Might. As the two assume their battle stances with their weapons, the episode ends, setting up for the best. I think the next episode is going to be the best episode of the series. Goku versus Tamagami 3. This episode was very well paced, and with Vegeta's crew now in the demon world, I feel like the stakes are going to get a little bit higher. Or at least they have to. With Goku and Vegeta eventually working together, the threat needs to be bigger and badder. We've seen what Goku is capable of. We will also see what Goku is capable of against the Tamagami. Depending on how that goes, it's really going to dictate how the rest of the series is going to go, because that much power in one Saiyan, plus a second Saiyan, plus Glorio, plus Shin being able to do what he can do. Seeing Shin fight and be useful was also a refreshing thing to see, since we didn't get much of that in Z. What I'm curious about, though, is whether or not Goku will be able to actually defeat the Tamagami by himself. It is supposed to be a one-on-one, as dictated in the episode. But what if Goku needs a moment, uses a join bug, and maybe joins with Glorio, or maybe joins with Vegeta or something like that? Would that have to be an option that they resort to? Glorio did ask Goku before the Tamagami fight if he needed a revive bug, but Goku had eaten enough and he felt that he was fine. I do have a question though. Why didn't the Armory recognize Pansy? I don't know if they've necessarily touched on this subject a whole lot, but is her identity not well known in the demon world? She is the daughter of the third demon world's king, so that's got to hold some sort of weight. I mean, the guards at King Kadon's castle knew who she was, but I guess they didn't. Regardless, the next episode I think is surely going to be the best one yet. I hope personally that is an entire episode dedicated to a well choreographed, well animated showdown between Goku and this giant mech hammer dude Tamagami 3 voiced by All Might. That's, dude, Goku versus All Might. You're not getting exactly that, but you are getting the voices going at each other, and that's awesome. I love the episode. This episode gets an A. Let me know what you guys think about the episode in the comments down below. Let me know if there's anything that I missed. I don't think I missed much, but there's probably a couple of moments that I did not pick up on. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, and always remember to Daima responsibly.